Hey, everybody, it's the Dynamite Show. Paul Fontaine and the returning Jeff Hawkins back for your viewing and listening pleasure. We are here on the Fight Game Media YouTube channel right after Dynamite. And if you're listening tomorrow, hey, right after Dynamite, that's rad. Tomorrow we'll be on the Fight Game Media audio feed. So I want to thank you all for listening and subscribing. I've heard we've had some new subscribers recently. So happy to have you aboard. Jeff, I think you wanted to talk about why you were away last week. I did get the thing you sent me, so whenever you got the cue, I'll put it on the screen.
All right. As many of you know, I have been having a case of bladder cancer. Well, once you have a recurrence, you have to kind of reset the clock. So every 3 months you go in for cystoscopy. So I've been going in for cystoscopies for the last, I'd say, what is 2021? I found the first one, or 2022. It's about 3 or 4 years. Well, when you go to hospital clinics, they use disinfectants to clean the instruments. Well, it turns out there's all those times I was having anaphylactic seizures, I thought it was medication. But the clinic I go to uses a disinfectant called Sidex OPA. It's OPA is the name of the chemical compound in there. Paul, if you could please show. Sidex OPA solution should not be utilized to process any urological instrumentation used to treat patients with a history of bladder cancer. In rare instances, Sidex OPA solution has been associated with anaphylaxis-like reactions in bladder cancer patients undergoing repeated cystoscopies. So that is me, and I am heated. And I went to the guy who wrote the paper for the National Institute of Health on this condition because he has a practice out here. And my doctor thought it was a nervous condition. And my doctor's like, your doctor is an idiot. Let's get to the bottom of this. But it turns out this doesn't just start. This starts after having 3 or 4 cystoscopies with the chemical in you. So this is why it didn't happen immediately. It happened 2 years into my checks and whatnot. And yes, once again, last Wednesday, your boy who hadn't had any, well, I think there's a lawsuit here.
Do you want to contact Harrison Landau?
Who is that?
Oh, you didn't get the name? Montel's lawyer that we saw
tonight? Oh, Montel's. Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. The humor may be slow because I'm so livid right now. Okay. But yes, so while I'm in the midst of losing my consciousness and blood pressure, I text Paul and say, you need to get a co-host.
And luckily, one was available on short notice. Kevin Ely had nothing to do and joined me. Did a fine job. He's a fine man.
But it's one of those things where I didn't exactly have time to explain it to Paul.
No, and I didn't ask, to be fair. So people asked me, and I'm like, you know what? He'll tell me when he wants to tell me. And,
he'll tell you when he's able to tell you.
Well, that could be part of it. Yeah. So I don't ask questions when you say that. And yeah, Kevin's the second best. Thanks, John.
So no. Just to know, if it's a Wednesday and it's a last-second cancellation by me, it's either a woman, which it's never been, or I am possibly dying of anaphylaxis.
And if it's me, it's probably something to do with Emily. So well, we're glad to have you back, obviously, thank you for sharing with us what happened.
So here's my disclaimer for the evening.
Okay.
I might be a bit surly.
Hey,
might be a little salty.
Sometimes that makes for a good show. I see Maria, Fernando, John in the chat. I was listening to I'm a little behind on the wrap. I do listen to all the episodes, but I just listened to like the WrestleMania review, and Fernando and Maria were both on there as well. So I mean that's cool because they're such great AEW fans, and it's good to know that they were very good WWE fans as well. They were very positive on that show, so I like people like that.
I like the fans in our network. I do, especially more than like people on the board.
And the people in the Discord. I mean, we have our differences at time to time.
People in the Discord are fine. They're passionate. But they never get like I mean, like, it usually doesn't get too heated. Sometimes we take things the wrong way, and then we'll apologize a day later. But no, we have a nice little.
And usually when you do, it's with the people you like the most. Like, I
Yeah.
get in with Larry Sternshine. He's, one of my best friends online, and we fight more than anybody. So, it's just you say the wrong thing at the wrong time, and it pisses you off. And
Mhm.
friends know how to do that to people, to
Yes.
each other more than anybody. So, so it was an interesting week. I saw the ticket sales for Forbidden Door. And so that is they're doing in London this year, the same week that they've done All In the last few years. And I thought they did all right. 11,600 from the first week of ticket sales. And I believe it's set up for 14,000 right now. I'm pretty sure they can get like 17 in there, which, if you're getting 11 now with like nothing announced and 3 months away, they'll probably sell that out.
Will Ospreay home game. Hope for Okada and Kenny to be on it.
No, that'll be on All In. I mean, they could do a rematch, but it's All In
is in Texas, though. That's the problem.
Right. So the thing that this should be, it should be conquering hero Will Ospreay coming to defend the title.
Yes, but people want their super card on this.
Right. But I mean, it's Forbidden Door, so it's not it doesn't have to be All In. Like, All In is the super card. Forbidden Door is and especially if they sell all the tickets, like, you'll get Will in a big match.
Paul, I got news for you. Wrestling fans in territories where companies don't come all that often always want a super card after another super card. It doesn't matter.
Fair enough. And I mean, I'm sure they're going to get a great card. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, if they sold this many without even announcing a card yet, I'm pretty sure they're going to sell it. And they've been doing. It seems like they've been doing better lately. Last week's TV rating wasn't great, but a million people watch on Max every week, so it doesn't apparently doesn't matter. But no, they're I'm seeing some really good signs. I'll just say that. Like, Tony seems to be focused.
There seems to be something in the fan base.
Yeah.
Where it's like, we have to be proactive. We just can't sit at home and watch it on TV, which is generally a good thing.
I also think there's a little less of the us versus them. And it's more about
that's also a good thing, I think, in my opinion.
It's more about AEW is great.
I will also say they are running pay-per-views in places that are not well tread for them. Like Phoenix is Double or Nothing, as opposed to Vegas or even LA. I mean, LA had Revolution, so it was fine. But it's like one of those things where,
or like, Atlantic City last weekend.
All in Texas is a good place to see, how you're drawing in the United States and seeing if you actually do have a travel crowd too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, you're really testing that by trying to get them to travel to Texas in July.
To the middle of nowhere in Dallas, too.
Yeah.
Well, not Dallas, but Arlington, right? Because it's at the Rangers' home stadium, so that's Arlington.
John has a question, and it is related to what we're talking about. Hey, Jeff and Paul, what will be the quickest sellout for an AEW show this year? I mean, I'll just say I don't think any. Maybe if they run like a pay-per-view at a building that only seats like 9,000 or 10,000, maybe something like that.
You would need someone that's not currently signed that is a big deal to sell it out quickly.
Yeah.
Now there might and you would need, or you'd need a feud to catch on such fire with promos that people can't wait. Now, right now, the only one kind of gestating that might come close is Toni Storm and Mercedes.
Yeah.
In my
Hangman
opinion.
and MJF, maybe?
No, because MJF has to run the gamut of whatever the hell this Hurt Business thing is going to be first.
True. What about Ospreay Omega? In the right market. In the right market.
Is it Japan?
could be England, but then again, like, that would
already be England.
But that would already be a show. Like, I mean, I could sell out. Yeah. So I get to be saying, if he says, yeah, like quickest sellout, I mean, it could be like 3 weeks. It could be 2 weeks before the show. Yeah, you know what? I'll answer that. I think it's going to be Forbidden Door. I think it's going to be Forbidden
Door.
Hold
on, are we talking just pay-per-views, or are we talking like house shows?
He's just saying any show. Those ECW shows are going to sell.
Yeah, the ECW shows are going to sell it easy because they're small. Yeah. That's such a tiny building, especially the first one being the kind of the freak show nature of it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think they'll probably, because it is only 800 to 1,000. So I mean, that's the cheat answer.
When NXT ran it, how many did they get in there? Didn't they get like over 2,000?
I don't know. I thought it was a lot less than that. Like,
could be.
Hang on. Attendance for NXT at 2300 Arena. Let's see, good old Google, what they tell me. Doesn't say on the Wikipedia page. I seem to recall. I mean, they sold out.
Okay, it said here. It said capacity was 1,300 for.
Okay. So yeah, for some reason 1,200 sounds about right. So, which I mean, if they get that, for 7 shows, it'll be all right. With their set though for Dynamite, it's probably going to cut down the capacity a little bit.
If they could ignite a feud at these Philly shows that last through the Philly shows, you could see a domino effect.
Maybe book a show on in Philly, for later in the year, or you just mean like something that catches fire so much that
I mean an angle that catches fire so much in that ECW arena with the Philly hardcores who are coming to the show, to that first show. That could then carry over the momentum over and over and over again. And
I don't think they've announced a location for full gear yet. So you could run an angle there, start an angle there that would be for full gear, which is a couple months later. And then when you put the tickets on sale, maybe they sell out super quick.
I mean, it would have to be, and without doing member berries, something to the effect of what an old ECW hot feud would be like, hanging somebody by their feet from a balcony or something, something big,
Crucifixion, good Lord, no.
No, nothing that extreme, but yes, extreme.
Or something like the, one of those memorable moments like they did with Terry Funk and Cactus Jack and Public Enemy with the chair.
Hey, give us a chair. No.
Yeah. I could totally, they're going to do that. They're absolutely going to try to do that.
They're trying to think of what could go viral.
I see Mark Briscoe and Brody King against I don't even know, some other tag team like that. Gates of Agony or something, and they just go nuts. All right. Yeah, we've riffed for 13 minutes. So, and you know what? If this show is much more than an hour, I'm going to be fine with that because I am currently recording the hockey game and a baseball game. So I got a lot to watch when I'm done, and there's no way I'm going to stay awake through all of it. So,
I have a DVD that came in the mail today of a documentary about the 1982 Milwaukee Brewers.
Oh wow, Paul Molitor.
Yeah, Molitor, Yount, Harvey's Wallbangers. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Mm-hmm. Is that's not the same one they ran on the MLB Network, is it?
I don't think so. This one was just came out last year.
Oh, okay.
It was only shown kind of in the Milwaukee area.
Gotcha. Oh, that sounds interesting. That sounds fun, actually. So yeah, we got AEW Dynamite. We were in Detroit, so it's the first of 2 consecutive nights they're running there. They're doing a live Collision tomorrow night. So it'll be airing on TBS, not TNT, at the same time slot as Dynamite. So 8 to 10 Eastern. So yeah, you all got another 2 hours of AEW to watch tomorrow night. And I will say, I thought tonight they did a much better job of building to that show and reminding people that there's a show tomorrow than they did the last time they did this.
Yes, it was all over this show.
Yeah, and if I remember last time, I think they maybe only announced 1 or 2 matches, and it was in the overrun. And here they were not only announcing matches, but doing angles to build to them. And they were doing a lot of stuff that they don't normally do, which I thought was great. Where they were not necessarily doing recaps, but they were doing promos or segments that were disguised as just new content, but they were actually recaps. If you know what I mean. For instance, I'll point out, and as we're going through, I may notice more, but the FTR segment where they came out and were talking to Tony. They told people about the angle on Collision. They reminded us that there's a match tomorrow between Danny Garcia and one member of FTR. They promoted that match. They promoted the fact that the show's even happening. They also threatened Nigel. So that was another reason to tune in. And it was like, so rather than just showing a recap video, which apparently people don't like, they actually did a recap without doing a recap video. So in a way, it's
hold on. You mean they built a feud?
Yes.
And they reminded you of the facts of the feud?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Somebody call the media.
They did it without a recap video, is my point.
Well, you don't need a recap video if you actually do decent promos.
Right. So, and that's what they're doing. So it's good. They opened with a new song. Apparently it's, somebody told me, I'll find it here. Our good friend Brad, Sum 41, You Wanted War. So, hey, there you go. That's feels like a shot at WWE, which is cool. I like that. It's a cool song, much better than I'm So Excited, in my opinion.
I was hoping for more ironic detachment.
Yeah, it was good.
Maybe some REO Speedwagon or something in there.
Yeah.
Roll with the changes. Come on.
Everybody have fun tonight, Wang Chung.
Oh, Wang Chung. Well, no, did they do that one week? I thought
no, it would. No, I don't think so. I think
somebody used that as a theme song.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Oh, maybe. Yeah. I may have skipped past it. But I thought it was good. And we had promised one of the things advertised for the show was that Hangman Page would appear live, and that's how we kicked off the show. He came out and did a promo. Now, I want to say this promo, the fans were going nuts for Hangman when he came out. And as he started talking, they were going nuts for him. And then he kept talking and he kept talking. And within about 3 or 4 minutes, these fans were lost. They had no idea. He was back to being the millennial cowboy.
Oh, dear God. I'm going to get buried for my opinions on this, but please.
No, I'm not. I'm not going to recap his promo. So give me your thoughts.
Yes. I mean, Will Ospreay, I thought, spoke for everybody.
Oh, yeah, okay. I
hate
I was
to interrupt
get
your
to
therapy session.
Yeah.
No, yes, it's the wrong. I understand why there's a certain section of also millennial fans who might like this. But overall, this tone, sorry, Fernando, watch for the shot.
Yeah.
Is bad for wrestling. Oh, I've had such a bad year. And we had more than one of these promos tonight, by the way.
So the thing is, sorry to interrupt you, and I know I said
please,
I wouldn't. The first thing he said was, I don't know why any of you would cheer for me after what I've done. And then he proceeds to do all the stuff that got fans to stop cheering for him. Hangman, Adam, if you're listening, if you're watching, the reason people cheer for you is because they want to see you kick ass. They even chanted cowboy shit when you said that. That's why they cheer for you.
There is a time to be sensitive, and there is a time to be an ass kicker. And this was the time. Look, there's number one. It's funny because my brother is at his alma mater stadium tonight, Lane Stadium at Virginia Tech. Metallica's playing there.
Nice.
Because their football team plays Enter Sandman for their football games, and it's a rollicking good time. That said, this kind of promo has been done well before, but it's not an arena promo. It's a studio promo. And the person who kind of did it well was Eddie Gilbert in Crockett, where a long time ago, he was doing the I used to be a heel, but I'm learning to be a babyface type gimmick when it was during a U.S. tag title tournament with and he was teamed with Ron Simmons. And he's trying to learn how not to be a heel. But that said, look, I get all this stuff. Just friggin' apologize and let's get through it. And let's go. I mean, if he had just come out and goes, I'm sorry for my behavior the past year, that's done, and I'll try and be better for you people. Then he's getting the babyface thing. But this is trying to garner sympathy when it's just being the crying person at a party, and it's not working for me at all. And then Will Ospreay came out and made the situation worse, in my opinion, by mocking him for this promo. And
then the fans were booing him because they like Hangman.
Yes.
But it was weird. Like, it was a weird dichotomy. And the thing is, like, I get that you want to build tension between these two guys, right? Because they're going to be fighting in 2.5 weeks.
No, you don't need to build tension right now.
Well, the match is in like 2.5 weeks.
Well, okay, you can't. Okay, but the tension is in the match itself,
right?
And if you want that, that's fine.
Yeah,
but you need to establish that there's no heel in this feud.
You could have had Ospreay mention, and this is maybe what I would have done, and maybe he didn't want to do this, but he could have said, and he said something that kind of
came close. I know where you're going. Okay,
made me think he was going this way, but he could have said, when I was the IWGP Heavyweight Champion and lost it, I nearly spiraled out of control. I know how you feel. And
yes, that is the crux of what this promo needed to be.
Right.
Was I've been there.
Right. And remind people, because they might not know. Right. And then Hangman is, and then you could have Callis come out and say, oh, now you're having a group therapy session. Put it on the heel to remind them that they're having a group therapy session, not the two baby faces talking to each other.
Correct.
Yeah. Now, that said, I mean, I thought Ospreay was good. He had a lot of fire. And then when Callis came in, he saved the segment. Like, he brought
Callis
the heat
saved
back.
the segment. For me, Ospreay was kind of a little bit. It's one of those things where, and Moxley does this all the time too, where it's like we have that nervous energy, so we need to move around a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Where you really want to convey confidence here, and it kind of undercuts your confidence to see you kind of pacing all over the place and kind of rambling a bit, where it's like, no, he needs this is, if you want to build the tension, they both need to just be staring holes in each other while they're talking to each other, as opposed to Ospreay kind of walking around looking at the crowd and trying to get that all going.
Kind of doing that, but
Hangman was trying, but he was doing the brooding kind of.
Yeah, because he was kind of like, he was thinking about what Ospreay said, and he was probably feeling guilty, and the other thing I noticed too is when he talked about burning down Swerve's house, people were fine with that, because it was like, okay. But then when he reminded people what he did to Daniels, that was like, it was, oh, wait a minute, that wasn't very nice.
Yes.
And Jarrett.
Here's all the shit you did beforehand to rub it in your face. And yes, you are a terrible person.
Yeah.
Which makes me a heel, because you're trying to cop for all that stuff right now. Yeah.
So the gist of this was, Callis comes out and he says, Ospreay, you made a big mistake when you left the family. He's out there with his whole family. Everybody that's not hurt. And then he says, next week, it's going to be you and Hangman against two members of my family. And I actually said last week on this show that, this is what they should do. And I think I even said Konosuke Takeshita and Josh Alexander as the two members, which is what it ended up being. Because obviously Josh can take the fall. That's what he's there for. That's what you get paid for. So that's going to be a great match. That'll heat up. There'll probably be some tension between Hangman and
somebody's walking out on somebody.
I don't think they'll walk out, but I think they'll accidentally hit each other, and that'll probably
it'll be like, oh, they're angry because he didn't see that. Oh no!
But the stupid thing is, they're going to do that, but they're still going to win.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this part, look, I get the stupidity of pro wrestling is part of it, but the whole Ospreay's grabbing the shirt of Hangman and say, yeah, we're in on this, as opposed to kind of the semi-professional, you in on this?
Yeah.
Then they shake hands. Like, see, they're gonna do the Mega Power shake or whatever after the match too, probably. I don't know.
Well, that's weird if they're fighting each other.
No, I agree. No, that's true too. You're right.
And it'll be actually at that point, it'll be a week and a half.
Yes,
Fernando's,
there's gonna be some miscommunication, and Hangman's gonna accidentally buckshot lariat Ospreay or something. And,
and then Callis will do a promo reminding him, "Oh, look what
Yes.
Hangman did to you! I told you."
And then finally, Kevin Knight will
Fernando's
turn on him.
sick. Fernando is sick of this Will Ospreay and the Don Callis family.
I got news for you. It's gonna go on forever.
Well, or at least until he gets sick of it, or he finds someone else to walk out of his family. Kyle Fletcher. But overall, I thought, it was decent. I will say one thing, and there's going to be some stuff that we might complain about on this show that we didn't like personally, and we don't know where it's going, blah, blah, blah. But I will say these fans in the building, they really liked all this stuff. And I don't know what the viewing audience is going to think, but like for one thing, for instance, I'll jump ahead just a little bit. Like the 6-man tag, I'm right now at about my wits' end with these things. They're happening every week. They're always great. But at the end of it, I'm like, what was the point of that? Like, where's this going? And then it dawned on me, it doesn't really matter. Where the point is, they're having a great match. Where's it going? It's going to have another great match next week. And if the fans like it and if people watch it, then what do I care? You know what I mean? That's kind of where I'm at with it. So,
it's kind of it's kind of people. Some people like good matches. I like heat.
Right. And that's the thing. So part of me at first was like, well, where's it going? Like, how does this lead to this? Or how does it lead to that or whatever? And it's like, well, you know what it's going to lead? It's going to lead to next week. Tony's going to put a thing on Twitter, call it an 8-man tag, add someone to the match on each side, maybe
make it for $200,000 or some random amount of money.
Whatever. Maybe next week it's $1 million, So it's, so whatever. I'm just going to enjoy the shows. I will talk about, what I didn't like about it. I'm not going to lie, but at the end of the day, like if it's working, it's working and it seems to be working. So, so we got, we're supposed to go to the next match, but, and they're about to pitch to it, but then, FTR, comes out with Stokely Hathaway and, Stokely gets in Shivani's face and Shivani like stands up to him and I think Stokely shoved him down and then Shivani gets right back up and then Dax and Cash like get in between him and Stoke. And, he called Hathaway called Shivani a decrepit, pasty piece of shit, which he didn't quite get the word shit out, but he might as well have. And then Wheeler actually grabbed the mic and told him, yeah, just calm down, buddy. Stop being so tense. He said, this is about Danny Garcia. And he said he made his choice, turned his back on us. And after everything we did for him, we were father figures, we were mentors to him. But tomorrow night, this is going to hurt us a lot more than it's going to hurt him emotionally. And then Dax said, oh, and by the way, tell Nigel we're going to see him tomorrow. Top guy's out. So I thought that was good. I think I have a feeling Garcia is just going to end up back with FTR when this is all said and done. It doesn't make any sense, but it just feels like it's where it's going.
See, I envision, I don't know why, but for some reason it's like, okay, Dax ends up winning this match against Garcia by cheating or whatever. And then Garcia decides, he wants to fight another member of FTR. And this time Stokely is the guy that he ends up fighting and winning.
So
somehow.
So Garcia beat Stokely.
Yeah, or something to that effect. Or the other way you do it is Dax beats Garcia here. Or Nigel helps Garcia beat Dax or beat Cash, one of the two.
See, the problem with this feud is right now it's 4-on-2 baby faces against the heels because Garcia is aligned with Paragon against FTR.
Yeah.
And FTR and Paragon have had 4 main event tag team matches on Collision in the last 8 weeks. And I have no idea why. They're all great, but like neither one of them is any closer to a tag team title shot. And I don't know where it's going in terms of the angle. And then last week, now they've aligned Garcia with them because I think they went after it was O'Reilly or Strong in the ring or whatever, and then Garcia made the save. So it was 4-on-2 baby faces against the heels. So you think, well, FTR needs a partner or 2 or 3 or 4, or someone on Paragon is going to churn on on somebody.
Yeah, this feels like one of those matches where, like, if this were 1980s territories, they'd be running the house show circuit with some sort of weird FTR and Stokely Hathaway versus.
This is exactly
Paragon.
what John just said. FTR and Stokely versus Nigel and Paragon.
Yeah.
Or I mean, it could just be Paragon because Paragon's 3 people.
Or you run that match, and then if Nigel and Paragon win, then Tony Schiavone gets 5 minutes with Stokely Hathaway.
Oh, that could work. Yeah. Oh, you know what? John brought up a great point for Jonathan brought up a great point for John's question earlier about show selling out quickly. The Arena Mexico Dynamite show did sell out. Our friend Dean wanted to get tickets and he couldn't. He literally on the on sale date, so they were sold out within an hour.
I just love that it's a news story that WWE will be watching in case there's any unsigned talent. Like, oh, you mean doing their job as a company? Congratulations.
Yeah. So I like this FTR segment for a lot of reasons.
Yeah, it was nice. But eventually, the announcer that's getting picked on has to get his revenge.
Right. Well, and Nigel could do that.
Although Tony was never attacked per se, so maybe he doesn't.
Well, he was actually. They picked him up and they were about to give him a pile driver.
They need to pile drive Tony.
Yeah. Unless Tony actually ends up turning. God.
Oh,
God. Why did I speak that into existence? Please. No. We got a fun backstage segment with Harley Cameron and Anna Jay, who I am christening the Cam and Connection.
Oh, come on. I love the name, but they just brought out TNA.
Right.
Again.
Well, they called themselves she brought up Anna Jay's fat ass, her words, and then she says, "We have TNA." And she like sticks out her tits while she's saying it, and her hand
of course she does.
Anna Jay's ass, and she says tenacity and aggression. And then Anna says also tits and ass. It was like pretty great.
I am mixed about this. I really am, because this women's division is quickly becoming like a Divas-esque type of thing with the body characters and everybody talking about it's one of those weird things, but it's getting over, so I can't I can't do that too much. I also just think it's dangerous to do hypersexualized stuff.
I will say
men who have no idea what to do with women, but that's okay.
I am so checked out on this Toni Storm stuff. Like that promo she did on Saturday.
Yes.
I mean, I know some people liked it, but my God, she's doing is recycling Joel Gertner promos from from like 1999.
And it's gonna get over in Philly.
Oh yeah. I mean, and it's over now. Except the one thing is when she went out onto the boardwalk and there was like 7 people walking outside and nobody was paying any attention to her, it was kind of weird. I don't think WWE would do that. They would have had like they would have out there.
Yes, they would have had extras. They would have had the scene. Hey, here's your chance to be on TV if you want to do it, whatever.
Yeah, and they would have all been going nuts.
They would have had a casting call earlier in the day.
But what I was
hold on. I have a little background on this. WWE sends out notices for those types of scenes.
Well, I was going to say, I think Toni did this on her own and they didn't even know she was going to do it. Like,
that's great.
She basically has carte blanche to do, pretty much whatever she wants with this character. So, I'm not reporting this. I'm not a reporter, but I've been led to believe that a lot of what she does is, the censors are ready because they don't know what's coming.
No, but if they're gonna do this, like WWE, when I was still getting casting notices and stuff, it'd be like 2 weeks in advance. They'd be
right.
Here's if we need a certain type of character or whatever.
Well, we both know people that have done that
for a crowd. Yeah.
So this was fun. She then Anna Jay said she was someone who she asked Thunder Rosa, Penelope Ford, and Toni Storm who wants to get choked out, and then Harley Jay jumped on her back and they piggybacked out of the
come on, let's go. And then they didn't come out as a piggyback, which they should have.
No, that was disappointing. which led to a 4-way women's AEW women's title eliminator match. So the idea here was Toni could actually so I thought in these matches that the only way to get a title shot was if you pin the champ, but apparently no. So any one of these women could have got a title shot by pinning any
in
other
a 4-way.
one.
Yes, and that I thought was going to lead to somebody who might get a title shot, but no.
I'm almost positive. I said this last week, and until it doesn't happen, I'm going to say it. I think she's going to end up losing one of these title eliminators because she's doing them like every show, and then they'll have a match at Double or Nothing. And my guess would be it's going to be Mina Shirakawa because she signed.
Yeah, they're clearing the decks for some reason. I don't know if it's because there's a possibility Hayter might win.
Oh, I think Hayter is going to win
the title.
Well, I don't know about the title, but I think she's going to win the tournament. I think she's going to beat Mercedes.
I mean, I think that would be but the money's in Mercedes and Toni, so I would not do that.
I mean, you can still do Mercedes and Toni, later. Doesn't have to.
Yeah. I mean, I have no problem with Hayter beating Mercedes, but it's just one of those things where it's like, well, then will Hayter have momentum to possibly belt her, which I think would be foolish in some ways when you have the Mercedes match still there.
Unless the Mercedes match ends up being for Mercedes title. So you could do Mercedes and Toni for the TBS title down the road.
That's a downgrade, but okay.
Yeah. Now we're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit. One thing I forgot, by the way, and I don't know if you even noticed this, and I certainly didn't, but it happened. At the very beginning of the show, there was a red spider crawling down the screen.
Yes. Is that Thekla?
It's a hint for Thekla from Stardom. There had to have been at least 13 people watching that knew what that was about. And they all were on Twitter telling everybody. So that's cool. I will say what's cool about it is that some people will know and they'll promote it on social media and it'll get people talking. And so you and I didn't know.
And then she'll debut to 25 people in the crowd who will love her. And everybody will be like,
or they'll do more teases. And then eventually Excalibur will say something. Look, we've seen the teases and here's what it's all about. And then they'll do a video package.
Then she'll do her debut, and then it'll be 4 months of trying to figure out what to do after. Yeah.
Or they'll do an awesome feud, and then she'll leave and go to WWE. No, I think Toni learned his lesson from Mariah. And I mean, that's not a dead deal anyways. I don't think she's signed yet, so she could still end up back in the AEW for all we know.
Mm-hmm.
So they had this match. It was fun. It was it was just a lot of action, good stuff. We had kind of messy in spots, but there was a spot where Thunder Rosa did her tornilla, and she took forever to get to the top rope. And of course, the camera focused on the other 3 women just standing there, holding each other up and waiting. Usually they do a better job of not showing that, even though that happens all the time. And then when she jumped, she looked like she was afraid for her life. And it was not a great tornilla. But
the best spot in this match was during picture-in-picture for the American audiences.
Well, then I didn't see it. What happened?
Yeah. Oh, you didn't see it? Oh, they did.
I don't watch the picture-in-picture.
Okay, they did a 3 of the women did the leg scissors over the head prelude to what Stephanie Vaquero.
Oh yeah. Whatever that's
but
called,
they were all in a chain. Anna Jay comes and takes Toni, puts her in a Boston Crab, and flips them over. So all 3 are turned over, doing kind of the and all have head scissors on them on each other, kind of a thing. It was like a cool little spot. I was like, okay, we wasted that on picture-in-picture instead of the actual match itself.
Devil's Kiss is what that move is called. I thought it was the Carpet Muncher, but it's not.
No, jeez.
Canvas Muncher.
I'm
moving on.
Thank you. A little disappointed they didn't call Penelope the super bad girl again. I like nicknames.
Yeah,
I like nicknames. I like those little things. This was fine. There's a lot of set pieces and just to get Megan Bane's giant ass out there.
Megan Bain shows up, and then Harley Cameron shows up, chases her away with was it like a 2x4 or was it a pipe or something?
There's a pipe.
Yeah, so she gets her out of the way, so it's back to just 4 women, and
It's no DQ, therefore
yeah,
Megan Bayne can come out and do whatever the hell she
but
wants.
except she
Okay.
didn't anyways. Didn't matter.
Yeah.
So they go back. Oh, and one other thing was early in the match, Anna Jay stomped on Toni Storm's crotch, and
Yes.
Toni Storm sold it, and Taz doesn't understand that women's groins hurt too, and started joking about it. So then later in the match, she had Thunder Rosa in her like Moodalock, Indian Deathlock, whatever it was,
Indian
and then
Deathlock,
Toni just stomped on her crotch, and then that ended up leading to the finish. She put on the TCM chicken wing, as it's called, and Penelope Ford tapped out.
The TCM chicken wing.
Yes. Oh yeah, you haven't heard that yet. Yeah, obviously
that's good cross promotion right there. I like it.
It is. And apparently, and I think it was Brad, and I know he sometimes listens to the show. He retweeted our plug for it. He's pointed out that she's been bringing back a lot of old moves lately, so it's part of her gimmick. So
I like that. Don't get me wrong. I'm gonna wonder, since this is a self. It's an hour show, Paul. It's things that we think about as we watch these shows.
Yep.
I wonder about Anna Jay sometimes.
And
she did that great run in Stardom, and she comes back, and for her it was because she got some love on it, and she immediately thrown into a title match.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't see it, so
and now we're just back to Anna Jay being Anna Jay especially when she was signed. In those first couple years, you're just like, dude, if she can put it all together, and then it's kind of like you see the differences in the two companies, because it's like the other place, and they don't always do a good job of it, but if they think you have everything, they will find a way to try and make you put it together, as opposed to AEW kind of says, well, you're kind of on your own to put together, and we'll see what happens. If you can do a 4-star match, we'll rebook you.
Well, you look at in the time that Anna Jay first started coming up, and Fernando points out how much she's come along since the Dark Order
she's
days.
Definitely improved.
Yeah.
She's
but
improved.
if you think about like that time, and then she started doing every once in a while, she'd do one of those hardcore matches, and then she went to Stardom, she becomes decent, comes back, disappears for a while. In that time period, since after that all started, Tiffany Stratton shows up in NXT as a green as grass rookie with a gimmick, and ends up being pushed all the way to being in a WrestleMania featured match against Charlotte Flair and winning the world, or retaining the world title, which she already won.
Yes.
I mean, and that's to say, and whether or not, if you want to say Anna Jay's a better wrestler than Tiffany Stratton, or Tiffany Stratton's better than Anna Jay, that's not the point. The point is, one of them's a much bigger star, and it's not just because of where they work, it's because of how they push them.
It's because
and that's the thing. And Larry, I brought up earlier, pointed something out like to me, and when I looked at it, I was like, well, yeah, he's right. When Anna Jay squared off with Megan Bayne at one point, I think it was on a Collision a week or two ago, they're like the same size.
Yeah,
like Anna Jay is not a tiny woman, but you kind of think of her as one, like because of how she's pushed. But I mean, there's a lot to work with there.
Yeah, and you kind of think, and it's also one of those things where it's like, well, they'll put her on TV, and then they'll give her like 4 matches in a row. She'll be on Dynamite and Collision, Dynamite and Collision, Dynamite and Collision, and then she'll be gone for 4 months because it's like, well, we've done all we can with her.
Well, they do that with everybody.
Matches. Yeah, it's
I read the Observer, like I read every single Observer every week, but the thing is, I don't finish it, so I'll read like 10 pages, and then I put it aside, and then I read like an older one, and I kind of get through them and everything. So point being, I was reading an Observer from January this week, and they talked about Queen Aminata, who had just lost a match to Toni Storm after picking up a win on a previous show. And then they had Serena Deeb watching in the background, and Dave speculated, oh, maybe they're going to feud. And meanwhile, fast forward like 3 months, and we're just doing the exact same cycle again with Queen Aminata. And it's like, and they do and they do that with her. They've done it with Harley Cameron. They did it with Anna Jay. They've done it with Julia Hart. Like every one of these women, Thunder Rosa, like until they one of them
even
catches
Willow
on.
and Stat, if you want to go that far too. So
yeah. But it was. I mean, like I said, it was a good match. I guess maybe they protected Anna a little bit because she didn't take the loss.
Well, they want her in the feud. They want her in the feud with Megan Bain.
So we're probably going to get a tag team match between the Cam-Man Connection and Penelope and Megan.
You are going to try and make fetch happen, aren't you?
I am.
I appreciate it. It's cool.
I'm hoping Carly sees my tweet. So we got Crew. They showed up, and that's all they did.
Baffling. This is freaking baffling.
There was a few segments that were baffling, and this was one. They just showed up and sat in the crowd.
They just show up and sat in the crowd.
Yep.
And then what happened?
And then the Hurt Syndicate comes out. So you're thinking, oh, well, Crew's there. Maybe they're going to set up a match. So they come out. They get a big cheer, and then MVP says, we're here to hurt people, and where's the teams that are going to step up and challenge us?
Yeah, there's a lot of tag teams here at AEW.
And the announcers even bring up Crew.
The Crew.
Yeah. I said, oh, Crew's right out here. And they're just sitting there eating their popcorn because they know what's coming. And then whose music should hit is Top Flight. Now, my very first thought was, wait a minute. Top Flight and Crew have been feuding forever, even though they haven't wrestled. They had a match. Crew won. So Top Flight's going to be wrestling Hurt Syndicate. And then
I'm thinking, I was thinking, okay, Top Flight comes out to challenge, and then the Crew interrupts somehow.
Right.
And the Hurt Syndicate's just standing there in suits looking. But instead,
Darius tells him, we've been down on our luck lately. So at least he didn't say we lost to the Crew. But I mean, that's what happened. And then he said, teams like the Crew are scared to step up, which I mean, there's no other logical explanation anybody could come up with.
Right.
Like MVP called out the whole division. Crew was right there, and they waited for Top Flight to come out. So then MVP asked them,
you know what's going to happen is they're going to fight on another collision with a promo that says, you interrupted our chance for a tag team title match.
And then they're going to have a match where the winners get a title shot, and Top Flight will probably win.
Yes.
Yeah. But anyways, so MVP asked them, hey, do you want to be the next ones to get hurt? And Dante said, yeah, we know we're the underdogs. No one has money on us, but we've proven ourselves against championship caliber teams. Who in the Motor City wants to see a miracle? I should point out, the crowd was either not reacting or booing. They did not.
Yes.
These
you
guys
know why?
Because these guys
they came out like wussies. We've been down on our luck this year. Now we're going to challenge the champions, but do it in a half-assed way. Who wants to see a miracle? No.
You know what?
Stupid.
You know what Dave has always said about people like, he said it at times about Chad Gable. He said it about Ricochet. He said it about, I don't know, other people, but there's a phrase he uses. He's got to get out of there. Top Flight needs to get the F out of here.
No. Well, they do, but at the same time, it's too late. Where are you going to go?
They're going to go to NXT.
TNA?
Yeah, no, NXT.
NXT has 20 Top Flight people.
Yeah, and they could use another one.
No, they can't.
They're good. They're really good.
They
just
good.
need to be pushed well.
They need personality is what they need.
And they'll develop it there.
Maybe. That's not guaranteed. There's 30 people on that NXT roster. Have you seen look.
So you wouldn't sign them? You wouldn't sign them?
I'd send them to like Japan for
Evolve.
No, send them to Noah.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah. If AEW could send them like CMLL or one of their people that they work with and send them away for like 6 months and they come back all hot. But
I'd send them to a Japanese dojo and I'd hire them an acting coach.
So
to learn how to promo.
So this segment isn't bad enough because I'm thinking, okay, what are we going to get here? We're just going to get a squash. Hurt Syndicate's going to beat these fools in like 2 minutes. That. Oh yeah. MJF shows up in a white muscle
wife
shirt.
Beater.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say wife beater, but
I'll say
so you know that there's going to be blood. And he beats the living hell out of Dante and Darius.
Yes.
Dante bleeds. He gets some of it on MJF's shirt. Power bombs. I think it was Dante onto the edge of the ring. It looked like it killed. At least Dante sold it like it did.
Well,
And
Dante
then,
was scared to death to take this because he's looking back.
Yeah.
The whole time
And MJF
taking the
just
move.
did not care. Like he was
No.
he's mowing through these guys like a knife through hot butter.
Hot knife through butter.
I know.
But still, okay, we know what happened here.
He buried these guys.
What? Yes.
Yeah.
If you had any, this is wrong to me. If you see any value in Top Flight, but not just that, but for MJF, the whole point is he's not supposed to have a legitimate claim of hurting people in some ways. He's supposed to beat up somebody with absolutely no value to the company.
Well, he just did.
No, but we're not supposed to think that the
yeah. I mean, I had all these great ideas about what MJF was going to do, who he's going to hurt, and all this.
Brandon Cutler is the first guy on my list to think of.
Oh no,
Michael Nakazawa,
No, we had some better ones. I mean, MVP was the one I think Kevin said could have been.
MVP is a good one, yeah.
Yeah,
but
mine was Hangman.
Unless
Hangman.
Unless we're doing an actual rebirth of MJF as an ass kicker.
Well, that's what I think we're doing.
I don't think so. I think we're still gonna get shabba-da-doo MJF cutting his clever promos, level of the devil, all that other stuff.
Well, we heard that tonight. But I thought it was gonna be Hangman. I thought he was gonna hurt Hangman, which would have led to Ospreay winning the title, and then it would lead to Hangman and Swerve, because then Swerve could come out and save him, Hangman, and then you get Hangman and Swerve against the Hurt Business.
Oh, I knew what my idea was, is that he was eventually going to hurt Bobby.
Yeah, that's another, there was, and then I think Brian Alvarez had the idea that, he was going to hurt somebody. And honestly, Top Flight would have fit in this category of Brian's idea. And then you go to do the vote, and then Bobby would be hesitating with his thumb, and then he'd put the thumb up, and then MJF would be all happy, but then it would turn out Cedric Alexander was behind MJF, and he was actually giving the thumb to him, and then they all beat down MJF.
Okay. Well, we talked a bit about this on the Discord.
Cedric's not going to AEW.
And the wife. Yeah. But you know what? You could have done MJF being brutal to Darius in a match, and it probably comes off better. Like, it's one of those things where they're scheduled to have a match. MJF, something's in him tonight.
Yeah.
And he's looking to bring it out, and maybe
you would have Excalibur remind us that, Bobby told him he's got to hurt somebody.
Yes, but you still have Darius get a little bit of offense before dying.
Yeah.
This was just a burial.
Oh yeah, and the funny thing is this happened at the same time, and some of the other news that happened in AEW this week, the Righteous were released from their contract at their request, apparently.
At their request.
And you'll recall they signed a 2-year contract, and immediately after signing the contract, they got put in a handicap match with MJF, who made them look like complete idiots.
Yes.
Shoving one guy's head in the other guy's ass, and they never recovered from that. And now he just murdered.
They will be in TNA, and they will probably get something on NXT, because NXT likes those character-y type guys, I think, to bring in occasionally.
We'll see. So after he wipes the floor with Dante and Darius, he gets in the ring and got in Lashley's face, and he grabs the mic and he says, "I like to hurt people too." And then I
got a cheer, big cheer from people.
Yeah. And the Hurt Syndicate seemed intrigued. Bobby and Shelton were chatting, and Bobby had a little smile on his face. And
the mic came in late to hear what Bobby was going to say, but I think it's we'll tell you next week or whatever.
Exactly. And then they actually told us later that we will hear next week
because the mic didn't work. And then next week MJF probably beats up Private Party
or the Crew, or who knows?
Or the Crew. They're all the same team at this point.
Are. Yeah. Then we get Excalibur pitched to a segment. He says, "Our EVPs are with Ricochet. Let's hear from them now." And they go to the back, and Ricochet has grown a full head of hair and about 6 inches of height, and he's now Japanese because it was Okada. and and then he cut the promo on Kevin Knight, just told him to have a good night, bitch. Walks out. Then Ricochet walks in. So I figured out what's happening with these segments is Tony Khan on the headset. All he's probably telling Excalibur, pitch to the Young Bucks Ricochet segment. Like that's, and then so Excalibur has no idea who's going to be on screen when the pitch happens, but he knows that Ricochet is going to be in the segment. So that's why he said Ricochet, but it makes him look stupid.
Right. It's on his rundown. And it's not like,
yeah, exactly. So anyways, Ricochet comes in. He says the 6-man all-star match tonight is his idea. He says, you guys got a problem with Swerve. I do too. I got a problem with Mike Bailey. So here we go. And they open their locker room door to go in and, relax to get ready for the match, I guess. And who's in there but the Death Riders? And Matthew asks them. They're just sitting there.
Yeah, they're sitting there in the dark.
You can barely even tell who they are at first.
Yes, exactly. This was so, are they emo too? They're listening to like The Cure or something like that.
They're just sitting there. And the first one I recognized actually was Wheeler because of his stupid beard.
I didn't recognize it until Maria Shafir hit the screen.
Right. So they go in, Marina slams the door, and that's it. And if you're wondering what came of this, stay tuned.
This is
sorry for the cough.
Sorry.
No, that's me. And at some point earlier in the show, they pointed out that I'm just getting word right now that Nick Wayne is going to defend his ROH television title later tonight against someone from Christian Cage's past. Now, yesterday they announced on Twitter that Rhino was going to appear on the show. So I put 2 and 2 together and realized, it's probably Rhino.
Way to go, Encyclopedia Brown. You solved this mystery.
I did. So, they go, Nick Wayne's about to come in and he gets cut off by Christian Cage's music and he just walks right past Nick. And then Excalibur tells us, Nick's going to face someone from Christian Cage's past who's coming up next. So
the best part. Okay. Yeah. No, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Match.
Oh,
no. I haven't gotten into it yet. But
okay.
Go ahead.
So of course it is Rhino. Big pop, they're in his hometown and he looks great. He looks exactly like he always has. Yeah.
But the best part of this was the defeated tone of Justin Roberts as he's getting ready for his Nick Wayne intro, and then the patriarchy music hits or the Christian music hits, and he's like, "Okay, I'm changing this up. He's now with Christian Cage."
Yeah,
hooray!
I
yes, Rhino did Rhino get the biggest pop of the night?
I mean, for entrances, probably. I mean, I think the tag.
I mean, more than Cowboy.
Maybe not. Will, it's hard to tell because he's got like the fans cheering his name in the song, so it's kind of hard to tell. These
fans wanted to make some chants happen, and they weren't happening tonight.
Some of the matches, like some of the stuff in the tag match, I think got bigger pops, like some of the moves.
Okay,
but
yeah.
Anyways, they had a good match. It was nothing special. It is funny that Nick Wayne, they mentioned, and he's heading off to the Best of the Super Juniors tournament tomorrow. He's leaving, so to prepare for the Super Juniors, he's going to wrestle Rhino, who is not a super junior. He may be super. He's definitely not a junior. He's the biggest guy in the company.
All right. Now. Question number 2.
Yeah.
Here. When Rhino came out, did Christian corpse or was he meaning to smile on that one?
It was kind of a mixture. Like he was kind of like,
are we supposed to think that Christian planned this, that he was the one who set up this match?
That's what's not clear, but I think probably, because there was at one point when he got some offense in on Nick and then they cut to Christian, or I think it was when Nick pinned him or something, or no, he hit him with a gore, right?
Yes.
Then Christian was smiling, but it was like, but Nick had kicked out. Or so we weren't sure. Is he smiling?
I think we're supposed to think either that he wants to test him or that he wants him to lose so that he doesn't have a title either, kind of a thing.
Like he's jealous. He's jealous of Nick.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
Which I'm just baffled how they're going to get to Christian as a babyface teaming with Edge, who will probably be Edge.
Nick's going to be the babyface.
No,
you're
because
right.
they're going to feud with FTR.
Yes. Yeah. Nick and Kip have to turn on him at some point. Yeah,
and Mama Wayne too.
It has to be through Mom. That's how they're going to get there somehow.
So Rhino went for a gore. Nick sidestepped, hit a kill switch, which didn't look great, and got the pin. He's got to work on that kill switch. It was a fine match. Rhino's good. I mean, he was still wrestling regularly in TNA, like as of like earlier this year.
That dude never ages. I think he's my age, or maybe a couple years younger.
He's like 46. So
is he? Okay, he's still in his 40s.
Yeah,
I'm 50.
Yeah, he was. He's 50. He's 50.
Okay.
So remember when he like 99, they were calling him the rookie monster.
Yeah, he's 49.
Okay, there you go.
Born in 75.
So post match, Cage is holding the title. Nick grabs it, and then Cage grabs it back, and then he's about to put it around Nick's waist, and he just threw it down and left with Mama Wayne. Or no, he left Mama Wayne in the ring with her son. So he's clearly not happy. I feel like, and I think this was Kevin's idea, he's probably going to try and defend this title while Nick's gone. Somehow.
He might lose the title while Nick's gone.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. And then, it'll be like, Nick will be, what did you do? Like,
where's my title? Oh, Kip lost it.
Yeah, Kip lost it. Yeah. So we got a recap of the Sammy Guevara winning a 4-way on Collision, and then Rush cut a promo because that match was for $100,000, and he blamed Kevin Knight because what happened was Kevin Knight and Rush brawled to the back, and that was his decision to brawl to the back. But anyways, they brawled to the back, which left Sammy and whoever else was in the match, Era Fox in the ring, and Sammy pinned him, got the $100,000.
Sammy Guevara, huh?
Yeah.
One of the pillars.
And Air Fox, who gets in all these matches. The most hilarious thing in that match was hologram watching. And I had the same thought, and I heard it on other recap shows.
Brian and Vinny, yeah.
I had it. I wrote it in our Discord. He's watching this wondering, what do I got to do to get in one of these matches? I'm undefeated. And then Sammy goes and challenges Adam Cole for the TNT title and tells him, what the fuck?
Okay, let me bring this full circle then, because everybody's just like, yeah, Tony needs to protect all that Mexican talent he's putting on this show.
Yeah.
Why? No, neither company does anything with these luchadors. I mean, yeah, sure. Oh, Holograms has a 28-match winning streak. Okay. For
Commander
what end?
won and lost the ROH title, and nobody cared.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bandito's here and there. Rush is
well,
here
Bandito's
and there.
the ROH champion, and
yeah, I know.
We sure don't see that very much.
Yeah, look at his push right now. Whew, how about that?
Well, he's wrestling Dralistico, I think, tomorrow.
Again, both major American companies need to make lucha not equal geek, and they can't do it.
No, the closest they're getting is with the women.
Mordos was close for a while, and then
just vanished. Why isn't he in these all-star matches? He's great. Should be in these. Oh,
because AR Fox keeps cutting in line.
Yeah,
he's the bounty hunter.
Yeah, there you go. Well, because Tony remembered he was under contract and started putting him in these matches. So speaking of the party matches, next matchup was Swerve, Mark Briscoe, and Speedball against Ricochet and the Young Bucks, and this was exactly what you would think it was. It was just nonstop action. Too much to recap, but it's everyone. I mean, it's the same match we've seen the last 3 or 4 weeks. It
Swerve,
was
No Soul, the Destroyer.
Swerve was dancing in the middle of it. He hit a move.
He's doing the gritty. He was doing the gritty. I'm here for that.
Whatever.
Bengals action.
I mean, this was the very definition of a PWG party match.
Yes.
They did some comedy. There was one spot where where the Ricochet was trying to get the Young Bucks on the same page, and they were going to jump up on the ring apron and challenge the baby faces. He jumps up, the Young Bucks stay on the ground, and then he looks back, and, what the hell, guys? And then he gets hit with a dive, and all the guys hit dives and dives galore, and the Young Bucks did a slingshot 450 splash onto one of the other guys, and it was just nuts. And eventually, after all this lunacy, Matthew Jackson wins with a roll-up. Small package. So,
I thought Swerve might end up like just kicking Mike Bailey in the face after that.
And then I'm like the whole match, I'm waiting for the Death Riders to show up because of that stupid segment they did earlier in the show. They never did.
Didn't show. Nope.
No, never did.
That was a red herring. They should have called it.
Yeah, the red herring.
They should have had that come on the crawl along with the red spider, just a little red fish. Whee!
At least Briscoe didn't take the pin. But it's weird that Strickland got it. Like Strickland, who you think is like, a world title contender. He's just taking a pin in a random 6-man, but whatever.
Yeah, it's also watching the post match, watching Ricochet hug Rick Knox. He did. Kind of look, this match was what it was. It's one of those weird things where
it's a fantastic match, but I'm not gonna lie and say I didn't like it, but I was wondering, okay, where's this going?
Exactly, that's what I'm thinking.
And I assume it's leading to a blood and guts match or Anarchy in the Arena, but I'm still trying to connect the dots of how we get from these party matches to the Death Riders in a blood feud.
They just announced the match. Yeah, that's all they're gonna do,
and that's probably what's gonna happen. Yeah, and that's what the red herring was.
Yes,
they're gonna say, long-term storytelling. So we cut backstage, and Renee's with Will Ospreay, and she's gonna ask him about his tag match with Hangman next week. And MJF shows up, and he did a quick plug for his ring. Apparently, they're selling replica rings, and he says, "You can make me richer and you poorer." That was a good line. He told Ospreay that he hopes he wins the Owen Hart because he's going to go to All In, win his AEW World title. I can get it back with an easy win. He mocked him with a British accent. And then Ospreay says, well, if it's so easy, why didn't you enter the Owen? And it's like, I'm thinking, MJF already told us he doesn't want to work for it. He just wants to pick up the pieces. And then he says, yeah, but you realize if you went in the tournament, I was just going to drop you on your head like I did at Wembley. And then he asked how the power in Max's arms are, which I assume is maybe some long-term injury that Max is dealing with. I don't know. And then MJF had a great line. He said, you're the reason they put instructions on shampoo bottles. I always love that line. But if you ever wrestle again, you're going to find out no one's on the level of the devil. And then he's about to leave, and Will says, no, I'm Will Ospreay, and I'm on another level. It's just an excuse to get their catchphrases in. So it was fine. They're teasing a future match with these two, they're teasing MJF Hangman. MJF's got the best gig in the world. Shows up every week, talks, never wrestles. Glorious.
What pro wressling is all about.
I know.
That's why I look forward to.
I am not criticizing anything.
I know, because it's just because Will Ospreay had the lamest effing comeback to MJF. I just went womp womp. Yeah, you're on another level. Okay, great. Great comeback there, British boy.
Then he walks away. MJF walks away, and Ospreay apologizes. I'm sorry about that. And
I loved Renee's get up tonight.
Lady B said Will Ospreay needs a hug.
Well, he has to wait for Hangman to get done with his hug and his emotional support horse or whatever.
They can hug each other and then fight. Then we got another sit-down interview.
Alice family kills them.
Jamie Hayter and Renee asking about the Double or Nothing match with Mercedes. Now, Jamie Hayter has been criticized for either Scooby-Doo or Three's Company. So she every week...
I love this look on her. I don't care what anybody says.
No. You know what she looked like? I realized it. Okay, the hair is totally Daphne, but the getup is Jack Tripper's girlfriend of the week on Three's Company. That's what she looks like. Like,
that's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Like, it's, she makes it work. Now
she just needs to be in character a little bit more. That was okay, but let's
now
get into
I was going to say a couple weeks ago. I can't remember if it was on Collision or Dynamite. There was a segment where Mercedes came out in her heels, and she got into it with Jamie, and Jamie was chasing her, but Mercedes was in her heels, so she couldn't run very fast.
right.
And then someone put the Scooby-Doo music behind this, and Jamie Hayter retweeted it. I am convinced the whole reason they did this segment was
to get cartoon sound effects into it. Yes,
so that they could do this again, because what ended up happening, they chatted for a bit, and then Mercedes showed up and chased her away, and they went to the back, and they just like, so it was
online Tony looking for memes. Yeah,
it was perfectly set up for that. So they ended up doing that, and then they ended up brawling into the crowd. So the weird thing is like I assumed that this segment was taped because Renee was in a different outfit, but they went right from the segment to a brawl to the arena.
Yes.
So there's a little bit of continuity issues here because earlier Renee was doing backstage interviews in a different outfit. And so I can accept the fact
that segment before this, she was in a different outfit.
Yeah. So whatever, it's fine.
They
had a good brawl though. And I'll just say Mercedes ended up getting the better of her and had her in the statement maker and wouldn't let it go. And I immediately I thought, okay, between the fact that she's dissing her constantly, she's barely acknowledging her existence, and now she does this to her. Now I'm starting to believe Jamie's going to win. So.
Yes, I am too. I really wanted this segment needed the work of getting Jamie over as serious, I think, as opposed to kind of her being on the edge of the chair, kind of doing, I mean, she's almost tipping the hand as to what's going to happen here, that she's going to need to get up or whatever. This should have been kind of a, what we like to call in comedy, a back off beat from hitting the bit, just do a real kind of, okay. Cause I liked the line, I need this win in the Owen more than Mercedes does. I like that, but it just came off so oddly frantic from her because of the mood that she chose. And I really, this would have been a nice moment to, okay, why is Jamie here? Are we building her? Do we find her serious? Tell us about this feud with Mercedes or whatnot. She's a great competitor, blah, blah, blah. People, she talked about her outfit. I think I'm just like, no, don't apologize for your outfit. Don't do that. It's a nice little look.
It wasn't so much that she was apologizing as she was trying to explain it.
She was trying to explain. You don't need to explain it. You don't. You're Jamie Hayter. You're a wrestling superstar. Let's go. And then when Mercedes attacks her, then there's a little bit more of a, we were just getting into the good stuff about her talking type of thing. So we feel, we feel ripped off a little bit.
Renee did bring up the fact that she has a history of back issues, and
yes,
Jamie didn't actually address that. So that is something that they want in your mind as this match approaches. So
I certainly like this look better than her pre-injury look.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't like the hair.
I also like I love the color of her hair. Love it.
Okay. I just you know what? I will say when she first
as opposed to the two-tone blonde and dark that she had.
I kind of like that.
There.
Yeah. She looks older with this. That's the thing. Like, so I mean, maybe that's what she wants. Maybe that's what she's going for. I mean, she doesn't look old. I'm not saying she doesn't look like she's 50 or anything, but like the old, like she looked like she was in her like early 20s, and now she looks like she's in her early 30s. When
I see that
somewhere in between there.
And I don't want her wrestling in the 70s gear. I don't want her being like Mike Awesome.
And she doesn't, so that's cool.
Right.
I think when she first showed up with the hair, I thought she looked like a dime store Becky Lynch, and I don't see that anymore. Like not at all.
Yeah, I remember you saying oddly with the red sunglasses, I think Mitch Hedberg in some ways, but
yeah. But overall, I think they're doing a good job with this feud, and I'm looking forward to the match.
This is the match I'm looking most forward to on that card.
Really? Oh, I mean, for me, it's Hangman and Ospreay, but I mean, there's only the 2 matches announced actually right now. But Anarchy in the Arena is always fun, but I mean, I think like the build for this was better like a month ago than it is right now.
I am incredibly biased towards Mercedes, and I love Jamie Hayter. So
there
yeah,
you go.
I'm looking
There you
forward
go.
to this.
Okay, no, fair enough. Everyone's got their favorites. Then we got another backstage interview, this time with Alicia Toot, and she's with Willow. And I thought Willow looked great. I don't know what she's been doing, but she just, I don't know, she just seemed refreshed. She looked like a star. Then start talking to her, and Alicia says, "Oh, you still got issues with the Death Riders," and it's like, "Oh yeah, I have issues with the Death Riders," and blah blah blah. And then before she can get too much into that, Chris Statlander wanders in, and
the feud angle that will never end.
No, she's trying to make up with her, and Willow's not interested. And basically, Willow challenges her for a match tomorrow night in Detroit. So
I guess who else isn't interested?
Yeah. Well, everything I said about Willow, kind of the opposite with Chris.
Yeah,
I'll just leave it there.
A bit rudderless.
Yeah. She just kind of, I don't know, like maybe I was gonna say maybe Chris needs some time away, but I don't even know when the last time I saw Chris is. Like she's another one that just kind of randomly shows up and then randomly disappears, and and like you said, it's the feud that'll never, like, these two are always either feuding or a team, like, and they don't ever progress. So
yeah,
I mean, they always have good matches, so I'm sure tomorrow night will be a good match, but hopefully it'll go somewhere. The winner will probably get an eliminator match with Toni Storm.
Everything to me is screaming angle, and the two coming together because of it.
So like somebody else attacks one of them, and then the other one saves.
There's maybe a return or something. Like for some reason I have see, I was thinking maybe Britt, but it won't be Britt. You know what this is going to be? This is going to be Serena Deeb and Queen Aminata or something.
Oh, yeah, that's a possibility. I do like that they're doing more women's feuds that don't revolve around titles. Like, that's definitely a plus.
But you have to do them about something. That's the problem.
Right. Well, in this case, it's this friendship that, this on again, off again friendship. So, I mean, I do like the fact that, like, Willow's just not like ignoring the history and just teaming up with her again.
No, that's a good thing. But
yeah,
also if she's the babyface goes, let's fight tomorrow.
Yeah,
guess she's not interested in that friendship. Let's play that up a little bit.
Well, I mean, she's been pretty clear that she's not interested in that friendship.
Well, she needs to be stronger on the promo then, and tell Chris to go away. It's my promo time.
All right. So this next match was announced earlier this week, I believe, maybe yesterday, I think. Kazuchika Okada and Kevin Knight in an AEW Continental title eliminator match. So obviously, if Kevin Knight wins, he gets a Continental title shot, even though he's leaving for a month to go in the Best of the Super Juniors. They just announced this match.
Yeah.
So as Kevin Knight is making his way to the ring, he gets attacked from behind by Roosh and Jalistico. And
did we miss the Roosh promo, by the way?
No, I mentioned it. He's mad at Kevin Knight because he cost him $100,000.
I love Roosh.
Yeah. Sorry. It wasn't. Jalisco wasn't involved. He was just watching.
Right.
But Roosh attacked him. He's like pushing off security, choking out Knight. I immediately thought, like, maybe they're doing this to write him out of the Best of the Super Juniors. And, like, they're not going to send him, and New Japan's going to
No, they're not going that far.
No, they're not doing that, but that's what I thought.
I thought this is an excuse for him to lose. He was beat up first.
But then, so he gets beat up, and then Mike Bailey comes out to make the save, and then Roosh Smirk just tossed him back, and he's selling the injuries, and Aubrey asked him if he can continue, and Knight's like, yeah, I can go, and then Aubrey's just like, okay, you're going to Speedball, get out of here. And then Speedball's like ignoring her, and she's like, no, you got to go. It's a Continental match. You got to get out. Like, she is just so adamant. Like, like, you cannot be here. This is a Continental match. No.
Yes, the Continental Classic.
Yeah.
Is a prestigious match with certain rules and what.
I don't think Speedball was getting the message.
Well, he's French Canadian,
and he just showed up. I doubt if he was watching AEW. He probably doesn't even know the rules. So eventually he leaves, and they kept cutting back to Okada as all this was going on. He's just standing there. Like, whatever happens. At one point, I figured maybe Bailey was going to step in for Kevin Knight. Like, it just seemed like they were going to do something other than having a match. But no,
Nope. They had
Nope.
a match.
They had a match. Okada won. I saw some people that really, really liked this match, and I mean, it was fine. It was, a nice, baby face trying to overcome the odds. Got a couple nice hope spots in. Eventually, Okada wins. Like, it was just a match. Like, when this was announced, I was kind of expecting like a real, like a banger, and we basically just got a nice TV match. And Okada won clean with 2 rainmakers. Or
Kevin
with a
Knight
rainmaker.
needed to win this match.
Well, he was never going to win this match.
He should have won this match.
Well, I mean, the idea was
it's a title eliminator. Who cares?
Well, and the thing is, like, well, no, but Okada's not going to take a pinfall loss anytime before he faces Kenny Omega.
DQ him.
Yeah, you could have done that.
Do something.
Yeah, but no. Well, and Kevin Knight's leaving. So the whole point is like, why was he even in this match? Like, that's what I don't get. You could have done this with anybody.
Yes, no, that's the first problem.
Yeah.
Second problem is you want to anticipate when Kevin Knight comes back that he might be able to beat him for a title then if we're going to hype up that he's leaving the Super Juniors.
Right. Yeah, but I mean, the thing is, he's heading for the Super Juniors, which he's not going to win. So he's going to come back, and they're going to say, oh, he had a great showing at the best of the Super Juniors. And I'm sure he's going to have some great matches over there. Don't get me wrong. Maybe he'll make the playoffs.
This is Tony pumping the cage match rating. That's all this is.
But like a month from now, like we're not going to remember this match. Like, and
we're going to think Kevin Knight's a loser who loses to the top guy.
They did set up a Speedball versus Roosh match, which I don't think they announced, but I assume it'll either be tomorrow or next week on Dynamite. So, that'll be good. I mean, that'll be a real good match. But
what are we doing pinning Kevin Knight so much, though?
Well, because he's a young guy. But the thing is, he's getting in these matches. I will say, like, Tony has a bad habit of signing these guys and forgetting about them. He's sure not doing that with these guys.
No, he signs these guys. He puts them in 4 matches in a row in a week, and then we're just tired of seeing their moveset.
Yeah, well, I guess we won't have that problem with Kevin Knight for the next month.
No, he's off to the Super Juniors, and he'll be back to lose to the top guys again.
Oh, maybe he'll win. Who knows? Nick Wayne's got a belt.
Who cares if he wins the best of the? Let me ask you something. Let me ask you something. Who cares if he wins the best of the Super Juniors when it comes to AEW?
The fans? I don't know.
No, Excalibur will mention it once. And he'll probably be put in there against like Moxley or something.
Unless he comes back with a belt. Anyways, I should mention after the match, he hit 2 more Rainmakers on him, was going to do a third, and then Kevin Knight just collapsed, and Mike Bailey showed up. So
yeah,
we're probably going to get a Mike Bailey Okada match as well. So that's fine. And Bailey will lose. So Don Callis is backstage, and for some reason he brings up the Outrunners, and I guess they had challenged Roppongi Vice. But he upped the ante and said, find 2 more partners and you're going to face our entire family, which actually isn't the entire family, but it's going to be Lance Archer, Kyle Fletcher, Trent Beretta, and Rocky Romero against the Outrunners and 2 partners. And I don't know who this is going to be, but I feel like it's going to be like an old-time tag team. Not the Rock and Roll Express, but maybe like, because he mentioned Tennessee. Maybe it will be the Rock and Roll Express.
God.
But, I mean, I don't know.
It's probably Top Flight.
Oh God, no. It's got to be like an old-time team.
That team's losing, right? The babyface team is losing. So
it's got to be It's got to be like an old team that's still going. Like
there aren't that many out there.
No, it's like the Rock and Roll Express is the only one I can think of. Like the Fantastics, are they still around?
No, one of them's dead.
Oh, okay. Mike Jackson or somebody, who knows?
Pat Tanaka and Paul Diamond together for one night.
That'd be fun. I just saw Tajiri wrestle a match. He looks so old. Oh my God.
No, it's gonna be Rhino and some other
Stevie Richards.
Stevie. AEW will not use Stevie Richards. I don't think.
Oh, okay.
Who did Rhino?
Oh, it could be FBI.
Could be a FBI.
Yeah.
You're gonna be so disappointed because your fantasy booking, and it's just gonna be one of these bottom tier ROH type.
Or it's gonna be grizzled young vets or something.
Gates of Agony.
Oh, there you go. Anyways, we'll find out tomorrow because I think the match is tomorrow. So, then we get a quick segment, Alicia Toot, and the Hurt Syndicate, and there's like some random dude behind them, and I'm like, who is this guy? And thankfully, MVP tells us it's his attorney, Harrison Landau, who again,
I did not see the segment. I missed this one.
Also, it was nothing. It was basically all it was a tease for like they're gonna answer MJF next week.
Well, I can't tell you if it was a worker or not. That's the thing.
No, I think it was really his attorney. I actually do think that.
All right.
Usually when the guy has a name that doesn't have any sort of relevance, it's not like a comedy thing, it's not like a typical, it's usually a shoot. So I'm going to go with this is his actual attorney. And we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just some AEW office guy. Then we got our main event. And as you pointed out to me in a DM before it started, another Claudio Castagnoli main event.
Well, what was the main event last week?
God, I can't remember.
Because because before that he had like 3 in a row, and I kept mentioning, another Claudio main event here. Great.
I don't think it was a Claudio main event last week.
Okay.
It was Hangman and Kyle Fletcher, and it actually it ended up as like it grew an audience, and the Overrun did great numbers, and it was because that was a big match, and and like they almost always. The main event is the lowest segment on the show, and people think, oh, well, that's just because the way it always is. No. If you put a main event in the main event and you promote it well and it has actual stakes, it's probably going to do a good number. If you just put 2 random dudes in a main event for whatever reason, it's probably not going to do a great number. And don't get me wrong, like Samoa Joe and Claudio makes sense as a match, obviously.
Yes.
Samoa Joe's feuding with his crew and all that, and they're probably going to be in the main event at Double or Nothing. But Samoa Joe and Claudio Castagnoli is not a main event. And I will be shocked if the ratings pattern of last week repeats itself this week. They had a match. It was fine. It was a, what's the word? It's not the 2 big meaty men. It was a mean guy match is what it was. And Samoa Joe won.
It was Claudio doing his uppercuts and having no effect on anybody.
Yeah. No, Samoa Joe was no selling his offense. Claudio did get the upper hand for a little bit, and then Samoa Joe got it back, and Samoa Joe ended up catching him up, choking him out. I will point out, and actually I wanted to make this point earlier, and we're almost out of time, but Claudio had a really cool entrance. He came out of this like old time elevator, and they were in this building in Detroit that was like an old like hall, and there was a lot of cool stuff, and a lot of the promos that were backstage were like in a like really cool background. Like I really liked what they did with a lot.
It reminds me a lot of the Globe a little bit here now.
Yeah. So so he comes out and he entered through the crowd and they shot it that way. So it's like really cool. And then Samoa Joe just does a standard entrance. The babyface. The babyface gets a standard entrance. The heel gets the cool entrance. Whatever. But it was that I really like that part of it. And normally I skip the entrances, but I actually watched Claudio's. Yeah, and then they just they had a match. Samoa Joe choked him out at the end. It was fine. It was a good match. Complaints. And then I'm like, okay, we're gonna see the Bucks now because we had that segment earlier tonight. No, there's nothing. The announcers never even mentioned it. I have no idea why they did it. They could have saved it to the end of the show, even but no. So after the match, the Death Riders come out, of course, right? Mox, Wheeler, Marina, and they come through the crowd and they're about to go after Joe. And then Powerhouse Hobbs shows up with a chair. So he's in the ring with Claudio. Mox is on the outside with Wheeler and Marina. And they just watch as Powerhouse beats the shit out of Claudio with a chair. 2-on-1, baby faces on a heel. And then they watch while Samoa Joe gives him the same move on the chair that Claudio had done to Shibata and Hook. And that's how we leave. And the Death Riders left. Mox is like, oh, damn it. Wish I could have done something. I guess. I mean, they want to make him look like a chicken shit.
I watched this and I went, oh my God, they're turning Hobbs on Joe already.
No. I don't think so.
I thought that at first when he had the chair and he's kind of like staying there for a long time. I thought it for a second, but yeah, it turns out that Bucks Moxley segment was Chekhov's gun that never went off.
I mean, I'm sure it's going to play into something down the road.
Oh, it's going to play into whatever Teams for Blood and Guts
Right.
or Anarchy in the Arena is.
But it didn't need to be placed when it was. That's the thing.
Correct.
Like, yeah.
Yes. It was ill-timed.
Yeah. Like they could have even had the Death Riders leave and then maybe they run into the Bucks backstage and then, let's go talk.
The Death Riders could have passed by Ricochet on his way to talk to the Bucks.
Yeah. Yeah. Something like that. Yeah. But no. So we'll find out probably next week. But the thing is, like, when you do these segments that are supposed to like hook viewers and wonder, like, you gotta like draw attention to it and make people want to know what's happening rather than just do it and never mention it again. You know what I mean? Like,
yes,
so, yeah. But whatever.
Make
it's a small part of the show. Yeah.
Yeah.
But overall, I thought, a pretty decent show. We got next week. So tomorrow night, Collision. We're gonna get Daniel Garcia and a member of FTR, Chris Statlander and Willow. Speedball and Dralistico. So I guess that's leading to Speedball and Roosh. And then Anthony Bowens against Lee Johnson, which they set up on Collision. And then next week, Dynamite Beach Break. We've already got 2 matches announced. John Moxley against Samoa Joe in a steel cage. And Hangman and Will Ospreay against Konosuke Takeshita and Josh Alexander. So that should be a fun show.
I don't know if I'm going to watch it, but it should be fun.
You don't know if you're going to watch Dynamite next week?
Oh, I thought you meant Collision.
Oh, no, Collision is Collision. Like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be in a better mood next week. I'm just surly right now.
All right. Well, get your plugs in.
If you think I'm surly about this, wait until you hear Nove and I talk on Shake Them Ropes this week about the one-note samba characters of NXT, especially their women's division, which has no character development whatsoever, ever this week. It just sucked. Don't know what Vader Club is yet. He hasn't gotten that to me, but that should drop sometime later this week. We'll be doing a preview of Backlash, unless we go after Backlash, because that's Saturday.
Right. Yeah. Big weekend. We got New Japan and SmackDown on Friday, New Japan and WWE and UFC on Saturday. So that leads into my plug. I think I'm going to be on Wrestling Observer Radio this week.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to be with Garrett or Brian. Probably Brian, but I'm not 100% positive yet because Garrett is going to be doing a post show with Jeremy Feinstein and Keela Cash on this network called The Scrum. And that is going to be, I think they're going for midnight Eastern. So they're going to do a little bit of time after the pay-per-view because there's a lot of stuff going on and you want to give people time to watch it. So they're going to do that. And and then I'll be back here next week. Oh, and I did a segment with Garrett that's still up on the YouTube channel earlier this week, going over the NXT and WWE releases and who might fit in AEW. And he asked me for my top 3, and they were, and you can watch for these names, Samoa Joe, Carl Fredericks, or not Samoa Joe, Shayna Baszler. Shayna Baszler, Carl Fredericks, and Jakar Jackson. Those are my 3. So check that out on the Fight Game Media YouTube channel. I want to thank everybody for watching and listening. I want to thank Jeff for being here. Nice to see you again. So for Jeff Hawkins, I've been Paul Fontaine. Feel better, Jeff. This has been the Dynamite Show.